everyone, I'm Heather McIlvaine, Managing Editor of Premium and Features at Inside Retail, and I'm delighted to be bringing you an exciting new video series from Shopline. Retail has undergone a period of intense change in recent years, and while this disruption has created untold opportunities, it has also presented challenges around cutting through the noise of increased competition, meeting expectations for seamless omni-channel offerings, and forging truly meaningful connections with customers to drive lifetime value. In this series, we'll explore how retailers can best navigate these challenges and why having the right partners on board is the key to success at a time when customer spending is expected to decrease and the cost of doing business is going up. Today, we'll be setting the scene for what a great online shopping experience looks like in 2023 and where to find the quick wins with our guests, William Ahn, co-founder and joint CEO of shipping technology company Shippit, and John Levy, country manager for smart commerce platform Shopline. Welcome, guys, and thank you for joining.
Thank you for having us.
So, as I just mentioned, retail has experienced a lot of change over the past few years. So I want to get a sense of the state of play today. Will, I imagine you have a wealth of online shopping data at your disposal at Shippit. So what are some of the, what are you seeing in terms of where customers are shopping now and how that has changed over the last few years? Yeah,
thanks, Heather. We at Shippit, we look at the world in terms of the pandemic era and the post-pandemic era. When the pandemic was happening, there was lots of spending on household appliances, electronics, hardware, furniture, and fitness, all the things that people needed to keep their homes ready for them to be in there 24/7. However, what we've seen more recently is that these categories have definitely contracted quite a bit, and we're seeing that in some of the share prices from retailers in these categories. But now we're in an era where we've got high inflation, unemployment's becoming an issue. So essentials such as supermarket, flicker, and pet, which have always remained stable because they've been less impacted by some of these macro conditions, they've been really growing over the last 6 to 12 months. And so, as I mentioned, with inflation running high and wages aren't really growing quickly, real wages are actually declining. And so what we've seen over the last 12 months is merchants on average have grown at about 6-7%. But more excitingly, over the last 5 years, I'd say, e-commerce, which started at 12%, has really seen a massive uptick post-COVID, with it running now at about 18% of total retail sales. In the US, it's close to 22%. And in the next 5 to 10 years, it's tipped to grow to 30 to 40% as a percentage of total retail sales. So it's a pretty exciting time to be in this industry, as the future is bright, as a lot of people become more tech savvy and default online.
Yeah, as you say, it sounds like there's never been a better time to be an online retailer. But you know, I think that if you just kind of look at the landscape, you can see that customer expectations of online retailers have increased, and there's a lot more competition now, especially from omni-channel retailers that you know, have bricks and mortar stores, but have also improved their online offering in recent years. So I want to get a sense from both of you of what a great online shopping experience looks like today, and you know, who's doing it well. Are there any examples? Will, let's start with you.
Yeah, I kind of break e-commerce retail into two categories. The first category is like discovery, and the second category is search. So when it comes to discovery, for an online retailer, it's really about personalization and relevancy. And so showing up where your customers are. And we're seeing this happen in Southeast Asia in particular with the rise of things like social commerce, where you've got advertisements and products which are being shown highly targeted towards consumers. And that is really creating an amazing experience for consumers here, because they are seeing products that they never knew they needed, and now they're purchasing them as they show up on their feeds. And then when we think about the second category of retailers, it's about e-commerce, it's really about search. And when I think about search, it's about search relevancy, search accuracy, assortment, and making sure that the stores have got everything that people are looking for. And obviously, you can't really forget about the quality of the product as well. When it comes down to great experiences, it really comes down to a great product. And then as we think about the conversion funnel and when a customer becomes a customer, it's all about the checkout, being able to pay how they want to pay, receiving items as fast as they want to, if it's slow or if it's fast. And also then post-purchase experience, being notified every step of the way, even when like items are have been delayed. Your question around who's doing this well, I would say like from a discovery perspective, you really can't go past someone like Amazon, the everything store, being able to see all the products in one place. But then I also think about other awesome direct-to-consumer retailers like Appliances Online who have an awesome product range, awesome customer experience, delivery experience, installs. They'll take out the trash for you. That's who I'm seeing as doing a really great job in Australia. John?
Right. Yeah, John, what about you?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Will. I think the customer experience, the brand engagement side of things is critical. What I find really interesting with the whole transition from COVID to now is that online retail has dropped off a bit, but overall it's still growing. I think traditional bricks and mortar retailers have really learned some key lessons through that whole experience and needing to really understand online. I think before COVID, they kind of saw online as the separate business altogether, that they would have to go and invest in drawing new customers or competing on price with Google, with the Google shopping feeds. And really, they've realized that it's about their customers and it's about extending that customer experience into another touch point. And it's not a foreign concept that they need to go and understand. It's a lot of what they already know. It's about extending that experience so that when customers are looking for products, they can find them on the website. So it's a lot to do with search, but with the convergence of online and offline, being able to engage with customers so that they can buy online and collect in store, and vice versa. Being able to sell items that you may not have on your shelves and be able to ship it from your warehouse. Those are some really fascinating concepts that I think the market is really geared to leverage very, very effectively.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you both have touched on some, one of the key things, which is choice, simply giving the customer a choice of product or shipping. Those kinds of things are absolutely key. So Will, you touched on this before, the economic environment over the next couple of months. It's no secret that customers are expected to become even more price conscious. And the cost of doing business is going up, whether that's raw materials or other aspects of a business's operations. So retailers, undoubtedly will be looking to be even smarter with how they spend their money. And that begs the $1,000,000 question: how do you create a great online shopping experience on a budget? Looking back at some of the things you guys have just mentioned, how can you deliver that great experience without investing a lot of money that you might not have right now? John, do you want to kick us off on that one?
Yeah, sure. I think it's a lot to do with what we were saying before, being able to have loyalty programs and membership programs where it's not just about attracting a customer once and selling and moving on. It's about the lifetime value of that customer. And I think with these times, with needing to be very conscious of the cost of acquisition of a customer, to grow that lifetime value with memberships, being able to offer discounts to your loyal customers, being able to have layered discounts. Loyalty is a big part of that as well, with loyalty points. Being able to really leverage your existing client base and allow them to really be the driver of some of your marketing as well, with recommendations and driving that social commerce side of the business.
Will, what do you think there? I mean, are there things that businesses can be doing to improve their customer experience without necessarily investing in, relaunching a website or something of that scale?
Yeah, sure. So just doubling down on what John was saying there, I think the stat is it costs 5 times more to acquire a new customer than it is to sell to an existing customer. And what we're seeing at Shippit, we've run our own customer advisory board. The big focus is on how do you drive LTV or lifetime value rather than going after new customers. Like, I've always thought about a few things or few levers that you can do to be able to improve that delivery experience cost effectively. One, it's how do you start looking at your fixed costs and turning them into variable costs? I think about areas such as fulfillment and distribution. And that's a really key area in which I see a lot of retailers looking at third-party logistics as a really viable option to be able to do things quite cost effectively, at least from the get-go, rather than running up huge CapEx setup costs. And so I always hear the argument that retailers think that they can have better control, but the contrarian thought is that if you think you can do it better than a company that's been doing it for 50 years, that's another way to look at the same problem. But in terms of being able to improve your margin structures very early on, we see a lot of our retailers offer things such as multiple delivery options at checkout. By offering multiple options, you can actually get your customers to pay for part of the shipping. So offer free standard shipping, but offer express and on-demand or same day. And in those methods enable you to be able to recoup some of those costs. And similarly, a lot of our retailers have introduced free shipping thresholds to increase the AOV or average order value. So free shipping over $50. If you're anyone like my wife, she'll see something like spending $45 and say, I'll spend another $10 just to get that free shipping threshold. So these are little tactics that have been used by retailers to be able to get customers to part way with more dollars than they expect to.
Yeah, some very smart and clever tips there, and that free shipping threshold is really effective. I can attest as well. Aside from the financial side of things, are there any other roadblocks or pain points that are presenting a challenge to retailers as they try to get best practices up and running to improve their online shopping experience? For instance, I know some businesses are experiencing challenges with the labor market and finding the right talent and being able to hire the right talent. Are there any other examples like that, Will?
Yeah, I think I think about the two big inhibitors being either cost or capability. And assuming that the costs are within budget or recoverable, the real question is how do you get the talent in to do the work? And what I've seen a lot of retailers do is they work with technology partners who know what best practice looks like. And they'll come up to someone like Shippit and ask for, well, what's the best way in my industry vertical to do, what's the best logistic strategy that's available? And although we're providing like somewhat free advice, that sometimes these customers or potential partners don't want to use the Shippit platform, ultimately, I think there's like an inner good in people where we're willing to be able to help our retail partners get ahead. And so on that basis, it's being able to tap into that human psyche of free help, because I think people are always willing to help, especially in the ecosystem that we're in. And so I think that's an easy way to overcome a lot of the talent, the gaps that may arise. And then once you've got the plan, it's all about execution. And really, as a business owner or as an e-commerce manager, like your job is to be able to take some of that information and be able to execute on that plan that you've been able to get advice on. And so that's a really cost-effective way that I've seen a lot of our retail partners being able to leverage the ecosystem to be able to build a pretty formidable e-commerce stack. John, have you seen anything interesting?
No, I completely agree with you. And you know, we do have an amazing ecosystem. You know, as we launch Shopline here in Australia, I've had the privilege to go and meet all our tech partners and our agency partners and meet with all our merchants that we're onboarding. And I would just simply reiterate what you were saying. You know, there's sometimes a habit just to kind of be isolated in your own office. Step outside of that office, go to some industry events, go to some meetups. There's even some WeWork type of facilities where you can work from, where there's companies like Click Collective, where there's similar types of e-commerce businesses all working from the same offices, sharing in expenses and warehousing and so forth. So there's lots of opportunity to leverage your network and grow your network, and make sure that you are bouncing ideas off your peers for some inspiration.
You both have brought up, working with partners as a good way to navigate some of these roadblocks. Why is having the right partnerships in place an important area of focus for online retailers right now? And maybe you can share some tips as to how to go about choosing the right partners. John, do you want to start with that one?
Yeah, I think choosing the right partners is about really asking the right questions when you engage with the partners. Asking them about their policies and how they actually are pricing their services. I think a company like Shopline, we're in a growth phase. We're investing in the market. We're looking to grow our market share, and those types of companies who are in that growth phase, that's how we increase our revenue. Other platforms, their only lever right now is to increase prices and access to features. And I think a partner needs to be one that is aligned with your growth strategy. And I think if they are, in terms of their pricing strategies, they're giving you access to the features and functionality that you need, will enable you to be successful without having to spend money on every single turn where you need a new feature. I think it's important to have confidence in a partner that they're giving you that platform to work from, that you can then go and focus on your business and grow ideas rather than focus on maintenance and support of your technology stack.
Yeah. So you mentioned asking the right questions. Will, do you have any other tips as well as to how to go about choosing the right partners and the role that partners can play in navigating some of these roadblocks?
I kind of take a bit more of a structured approach in terms of understanding what my customer journey is and what the value chain needs to be. And ultimately what I do is I map out each stage of the journey, and what I'm looking at is who are the key winners in each of these segments and these product categories. And then once I've identified them, I'm on LinkedIn looking for the person who actually runs that product in the country. So that's one of the ways that I've been able to identify who my partners are. And from identifying who my partners are, I am then able to reach out and find the best experiences and get the best knowledge possible.
Okay, so let's talk about opportunities. One thing I often hear is that a tough economic environment is an opportunity for smart leaders to invest in and expand their business. So what are some of the key opportunities that retailers should be considering right now to improve their online offering? John, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, well, I think I think it's quite clear that we need to be looking at new opportunities with cross-border and that, but taking a step back, because I think that's something that Will might be able to talk to a lot more, is taking some initiatives where you can, if you're an online retailer, try something new, try new product lines. Even experiment with a pop-up store where you can sell directly to the consumers and get some immediate feedback. Those are very powerful ways for you to really understand and iterate on your offering and understand the feedback that's coming back from market. But in regards to expansion to new markets, I think that's obviously something that's on the mind of many merchants here locally, and having the right partners to do that is obviously paramount to that.
Yeah, Will, can you share a bit about what you're seeing when it comes to international expansion? I think I certainly have heard, spoken with a lot of brands that are looking to expand overseas, both online and offline. What's the opportunity there for retailers, and maybe what's driving this right now?
Yeah, so I'm living in Singapore at the moment, and I'm seeing a huge opportunity for e-commerce growth in Southeast Asia. E-commerce penetration is in the single digits. As I mentioned earlier in the meeting, it's at 18% in Australia. So there's a population size that's twice the size of the US. And so this is a really good, I guess, fertile ground for retailers to start selling to customers in. What I'm also seeing is multi-channel sales. So retailers looking at selling on multiple marketplaces, effectively having a clear product strategy is essential in increasing eyeballs to your products. So marketplaces in Australia, such as Maya, Iconic, Catch marketplaces, these have got loads of traffic, so retailers can focus on driving sales on those markets. And then the other thing I'm seeing is people actually doubling down on digital marketing for acquisition. When everyone is cost constrained, the cost of keywords goes down. This gives people an opportunity to go for market share. So that's the contrarian thought towards spending less, but spending more to get market share.
Oh, that is certainly a very interesting idea. So I'll be curious to see any retailers that take advantage of that one. Something like expanding into a new market is not something that you can do overnight. It takes some time to properly research the market and ensure that your offering is tailored to those customers, and get everything up and running to make sure that it's a success and you don't overpromise and underdeliver. So when we think of quick wins, I'd like to talk a little bit about some changes that retailers can make today, maybe, and see almost an immediate impact on their business. So are there any quick wins that come straight to mind, John? Something that isn't going to cost a lot of money, but will, move the needle.
Yeah, sure. Look, there's lots of things that you could do to improve the performance of your website in terms of SEO. There's tools that we have in terms of using ChatGPT to provide you with keywords. I think those are some powerful ways for you to improve the performance of your SEO, create content that can be leveraged as well. But also just looking at simple things like improving some of your, I think having Will on this call was done on purpose in terms of customer experience, and that your shipping experience is part of your customer experience, and making sure that you have the right tools in place to be able to offer your customers appropriate selection choices in the cart, so that you can decrease that shopping cart abandonment, which is often attributed to shipping related causes. I think the stat that I've last seen is that if you're able to decrease shopping cart abandonment by 1%, that equates to a 10% increase in revenue. And simple things like shipping options, payment options, optimization of that cart can lead to significant increase in revenue.
Wow, that's a very impressive stat. So jumping off the back of that, Will, what are some ways that retailers can improve their shipping offering? Maybe some overlooked ways, something as simple as having a clearer returns policy or something. Any ideas there?
Yeah, so I always look at margin improvement as a way to reinvest some of that cash into creating great experiences. So like my first step is reviewing contracts that I've got with all of my last mile providers or my fulfillment providers. That is a first step, and then potentially introducing multi-carrier option so that you've actually got leverage across multiple carriers that specialize in different areas. Being able to offer these multiple carriers means multiple shipping options. as I mentioned earlier, you can recoup some of the costs by charging for some of these faster delivery options. As you mentioned earlier as well, have a clear returns policy. You'll be surprised. I think it's an increase in 30% increase in the conversion at checkout as a result of having clear returns policy. And another interesting one that we found that improves conversion as well is ETAs. So knowing when you're going to receive something at checkout actually improves the experience, because the buyer knows whether or not they're going to get it when they need it. And so little changes like that, which are able to improve the conversion at checkout, are real quick wins that really help you grow that top line. And then focused on the bottom line by negotiating on your contracts with your providers means that you'll be able to reinvest that in marketing expense and product expense, so you can drive further growth.
Yeah, great points. On the topic of negotiating your contracts, any tips there as to how to do it successfully? I mean, perhaps even from the other side of the table, some people watching might be wanting to renegotiate contracts with partners in their network. So any tips that you can share?
My first tip is, if you don't ask, you don't get. And so one of the things that even at Shippit, what we've done as well is we've gone and looked at some of the costs that we've had over the last couple of years. And we even looked at contracts that we should have been charged cheaper when we had when we had more users, and those things didn't happen from a Shippit perspective. And so I think what it does is it just drives the right behavior in terms of being cost conscious. And then, as I said, like just asking your vendors how they can potentially help you is the critical first step.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, lastly, I want to take a look ahead and ask both of you if there are any major trends or technologies that you see as having a big impact on the online retail landscape in the next couple of years that retailers should be preparing for now. Both of you have mentioned at various times ChatGPT and AI. How are these technologies going to change online retail, and how can online retailers perhaps start taking advantage of them to improve their offering to customers? John, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, sure. I think, using AI is all the fad at the moment. Everyone's talking about it, so I don't want it to be too cliche, but I think it would be crazy not to dig in a little bit in terms of what I mentioned before about SEO, using it for keywords within a platform to make it more cost effective and really just a time saver for businesses that are resource poor. I think for generating content for blogs and product descriptions, those are things that we're really focused on in providing the market. But going beyond that, I think in terms of trends, we could also look towards what is happening in Asia with social commerce. I think that's a big trend that is going to be coming to Australia and other Western markets very quickly. It's one that is very powerful in terms of its viral aspects and really just engagement that online retailers can have with merchants. Things like a video, live streaming of product and merchandise, and letting your customers actually ask questions and interact with you, and giving them a quick way to make a purchase using chat and WhatsApp and even some of Facebook's technologies to really engage and partake in that conversation. Really going to be key going forward.
Great points. I think the social commerce thing is a very interesting space to keep an eye on. Will, any trends or technologies that you see as having a big impact in the next couple of years?
I think the social commerce piece is super underplayed in Australia. TikTok Shop just launched in the UK. They're live in Southeast Asia. It's now the third largest marketplace here, over the Shopee, Lazada, then TikTok Shop. It's absolutely lit the world on fire here. And I see that as a big trend or a mega trend that's going to emerge. Your topics earlier on like where I see AI impacting e-commerce, like definitely AI-powered chatbots to help like 24/7 support product-related queries. That's a clear use case that's being used today. But what we're also seeing is the merging of inventory management and also AI is something that's quite interesting. So what we're seeing is a lot of retailers now implementing an order management system that works across multiple channels. Retailers being able to ship from or sell from warehouse and also sell from store. They're being able to create a unified inventory view. And then by being able to offer all the products in your whole catalog, you increase conversion rates because you've got more discoverability. And then what people are applying are AI on like demand prediction and optimizing inventory levels to ensure that popular products are always in stock and reducing the risk of lost sales by using some of these technologies. So that's some of the trends that I'm seeing as I see social commerce, multi-channel or omni-channel retail, and really the intersection of AI as well.
Wow, some very interesting things to come, I think. That's a great note to end on. Thank you both for sharing your insights with us. And for those watching, make sure you check out the other videos in this series. Thanks.